All right, so I guess I should introduce. This is the dashboard of my project. My project here is to emulate and combine my favorite features from Medusa.js, Shopify, Sailor Commerce, um, and some other commerce tools. So Medusa.js is the heavy, heavy, heavy inspiration for this project. I've been working with it for a couple of months, and I built a client website with it, and I was really happy with it. However, I did not like the ability um, or my limitations on actually changing the Medusa UI, and I also didn't like how separated the front end visuals was from my back end. I know that's the point of a headless commerce system, but I wished it was more like a content management system, similar to that of Payload. Um, and so I'm taking the general architecture of um, Medusa and I'm combining it with that of Payload CMS. And then I'm also taking some of the features from Shopify, like the ability to build your front end, your pages, your design, customization, all of that, and embedding that as well. And then I also plan to build out a Next.js mini package that users can then deploy and then modify, and then that will connect back to the main instance through webhooks, and those will act like little apps that can then have iframes for their own UI. So an example, this is what the visualization looks like currently for the project. We have the payload CMS instance. This connects to Postgres, Redis, and MinIO. This is our S3 storage for images, videos, files, that type of content. Redis is the event management system, or it's where we're storing our events. We're using BullMQ to then interpret and manage workflows, subscribers, retry, um, and then PostgreSQL is the database I'm using to integrate with Payload CMS. Payload CMS is the content management system that allows me to define these collections, these globals, these schemas to interact with. Now, you don't need to use PostgreSQL. You could use um, Supabase and you can use Mongo. They have a bunch of different providers and adapters for that, which is something that this would work for. If you wanted to change out the provider really quick, it's just adjusting the payload CMS config. So currently, I've implemented the data layer, about 90% of it, the most essential stuff. We have here regions, so you can define a region, the name, the code, and then it will affect right here. This has region logic based on is it allowed? Is there a default region? Do we service this? And then regions define what currency is everything going to be priced in? What is the tax region? What is the payment providers, fulfillment providers, stock locations? Like, what do we include? And then what type of pricing? Is it active? This is the default region. We then have stuff like pages. So this is what I was talking about for the front end. Go here and we can have a bunch of different blocks. And so these are the standard ones that Payload CMS UI comes with. We've built in, um, or I've built in, I don't know why I say we, um, login pages, account creation pages. I have the shop page built, and then light mode and dark mode are based on semantic tokens. So you'll have the ability to change that. Currently, you have to change it in the style.css file, but I plan to make that a global that you can interact with. And then globals down here also define policies, agreements, like all of this stuff. And then we can click on here. We can boom, 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 see all of this. And so, yeah, here's the account. Boom. Okay. Then you can mess with the hero, SEO. This is all going to be modified. This is the standard payload page. I really want to implement tools like where did I put it? Tools like CraftJS or Rika.js. So CraftJS is for styling, and then Rika is built on top for actually adding in JavaScript functions to it. Here's the data layer if you're interested in. I can kind of pan over it so you can pause it if you want. Um, but here is then the list. So here's all of the different types of things. So like I was saying, we have the front end stuff. Oh, emails. I'll go over emails real quick. Emails is another thing I wanted to have implemented. So we can create a new email template. And based on the type of notification template it is, it has specific blocks. So this one, for example, has the general. Abandoned cart has this as well, and then I believe order confirmation, yeah, has the order summary component. And so these are things that will allow us to define what type of data is being passed to the template, will it be able to support it, and making sure everything is there to be customized. Then the most important thing, the thing that I'm actually building right now, is the event layer. So I can show you this in code. Right now, I do apologize for the messy folders. Collections, e-commerce, customers, boom. So right now, events are defined like this. So on hooks, we have after change. If there's no doc return, uh, you could scroll and look at the code. But here's the meat of the code. So if the operation is create, we're then going to emit with the payload instance, so it can connect to it, the domain of customer and the action of created. We're going to then pass the subject ID, so the doc reference. We're going to pass the domain, and then inside this payload, we're going to pass in the contents of the email, first name, last name, status. So we have create, update, and delete. These are then added into event logs. Oh, and I did forget to mention, this is an amazing plugin, and I did not make it. It is built by, I have his name written down here. It's called like Command CK. Um, um, I'm so sorry. Oh, I think I have it in the README. Do that, README. Okay. Yeah, so here's the design tokens that I was mentioning. The README for that. Oh, and it has light mode and dark mode. And by the way, ChatGPT is terrible at generating these. It took a lot of work to just get it to make me a README. I think it's because all of their outputs are in a README. But yeah, not easy. Not easy. Boom. Okay, yeah, he is Veaji. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his first name, but yeah, it's called the Payload CMDK plugin, and it's an amazing plugin. But that's what this is. But anyway, event logs. Yeah, cool. So this is the event. This is for item potency. So we don't emit the same thing with the same data and then keep emitting these events. We can keep track of it in here. We have the event key. This is hashed based on actual the payload data that I passed in. So this data right here, and this is stored in a JSON. We have the type, the version number, the subject ID. Is it pending, attempt? Is it processed at? Do we have any errors? So if there is an error, it will actually save this as JSON. The source, where's it coming from? Correlation ID. So when we have stuff like a uh, customer order, it has a lot of interactions. We create, yeah, a lot of events occur. So it creates the order, confirms the orders, makes it paid full, updates the cart, updates payments. Like all of this is basically used. All of this is used pretty much in one order flow. And so that's going to be really tricky to figure out, but that's what this correlation ID is, so I can group it. And then here's the payload. And then this is all README, so I can't edit. I can't edit any of this stuff. Um, and you wouldn't want to, which is why I have this set up like that. And so, yeah. And then I have certain things like footers, footers, boom, boom, boom. And it allows us to define all of these, drag and drop them, and then it would adjust the bottom. And so what I'm working on now is these instances, these worker instances. So they connect to Payload CMS through the Payload SDK, and that will allow me to manipulate and edit the actual data of the project. And then Redis for the events with BullMQ. That I'm still figuring out on the workload side of things. I have right now uh, events. Yeah, so here's the logic for creating an event. It's got the interface of what I want. And this is different than a payload type. And then I'm passing the payload instance, and then this allows me to actually create the event log, pass in all of this data, and then return, yeah, it's good, it's been created, or false. And then internal subscribers. So initially, I was thinking I'm going to put all of this in one step. It's going to be one thing that you could ship, but then I realized this is not scalable. If you have a lot of operations going on in the background, your front end is going to really, really, really slow. That is not good. That is not scalable. That is not what you need for a business. So I'm in the process of trying to set up a worker. And so this worker is what's going to actually handle the subscribers. It's going to handle the workflows. It's going to handle the jobs, queues, on all of that. And so what is going to happen is I'm going to create another collection called workers. It's going to have API keys, and it's going to allow the workers to actually authenticate when they send requests and make requests. Um, and fetch request, and it's going to interact like a webhook. And so the API key will be the way for authentication between them. That way you can set up as many worker instances as you want. Similar thing will be for the front end instance. I believe Payload CMS has the option in the config to disable UI. And so I will have a main Payload CMS instance and a worker Payload CMS instance, and this will be for load balancing. So you can do multiple front ends, multiple back ends, and then I'm going to also work on localization for, I believe it's IEN, something like that. It's for languages. Really, I'm still learning as I go, and this has been a huge process for me. But let me just show you some of the collections I was mentioning. So you can have product categories, product collections, and so let's go to a category, the name, the slug, description. You can have a thumbnail. The media you want to include, is it active, published, at, and then some metadata, and then boom. If you want a parent category, you could do that. It's not save that. Promotions, so you can do promotions to assign to customer groups, price list for overriding, all of that. And then this is kind of like what I was wanting my system to be, is this module and provider setup. So a module would be shipping, and then I can show you in code, I suppose. Okay, yeah, so we have these providers, there we go, modules, and then within them we have providers. So the idea is, again, these readmes have been generated by ChatGPT. It's really good at taking what I describe and what I provide in code, and then turning it into this system. And ChatGPT has been essential to this because this is so out of my reach from a normal project. I've started using Payload CMS only 6 months ago, and so this has been beyond helpful in helping me figure this all out. But we have the general resolver and general types. So a type is the provider that you can define. So you give it the ID, a code, enabled, and then config allows you to set up like, let me go back here, shipping fulfillment providers. So the name, the code, shippo, ShipStation, what regions does it support, the environment, is it test, is it live, manual or third party, what type of capabilities, all of this stuff is defined in code. So if we go to notifications, for example, that's the one I've been working on because I want to integrate with my email templates. We have the provider. We have the registry, so these are the ones that we're supporting. So at the moment, resend, the resolver, which handles mapping basically based on our providers. So let me see if I can find this. Notification providers. Cool. Yeah, so resend, resend, capabilities, only email, regions, boom. And then in here, defining how to connect to it in the system. So obviously we do not want to be storing API keys um, in raw JSON. So what here is a reference to where it's stored in your .env. So you can add to your .env, say give it a custom variable name and value, and then go into here and change it, and then boom, boom, boom. So this is updatable. You can type as opposed to the event system, which did not allow it. Leave, 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 leave. Okay. And so yeah, providers, resend, provider breaks everything. This was the snippet off of the website for handling it. And so this, like as I was saying, it pulls the name of the config or the API in environment location and make sure all this works. And then this you define the functions based off the interface of the notification provider type. Uh, where did I put this? Where did I put this? Yeah, and so this defines, okay, we need to have a send class. In payment and inventory or taxes, you might have other things. And then the provider manages mapping. So it takes the provider code, finds it, and then matches it to that. And then this is all um, kind of boilerplate generated stuff from ChatGPT, mostly just to get the systems in place and happy. This is going to require enormous amounts of reworking, but this is so far down the road. That's why I put such little effort into it from ChatGPT, taking my base code of like what I'm looking for and then making it. Right now, I'm working on the event system, and the event system is pretty tough because I've never actually built an event-based system. But mostly, I'm struggling right now with how do I best import and connect types from one project to the other. And so this has kind of been the whole project so far, kind of like put into one concise video, whereas in the first video was more of a slideshow walking you through everything. And so yeah, here is just the mural board for everything that I have planned, and scope creep is kind of like kicked in and made all of this a lot more challenging than it needs to be. But I've been really enjoying the project so far, and I know I do have a dreary and monotonous voice, so I do appreciate if you've stuck around this far. And if you have any more feedback, please leave me a comment in the video below. And thank you for watching.